They marched in with no warning. I couldn't think. Envoy! What does the Gorot think they're doing? What's the point of exploring if you just want... I took my notes and bolted when they came through Hightown. They didn't think I would...
Right now?
If you're looking for survivors, a few of us fled to the Ballarok.
How many?
I'm not sure. I saw Sapiento... Gods, I hope they're not... I am sorry,
We should move. Let's hope the Garrote hasn't made it to the ballot.
Envoy, wait! I took some supplies when I ran. I'll even give you a discount.
Why is there snow here?
It's gotta be Ringgrim's work. I heard she made it snow in Shatters.
A familiar face. We meet again, Envoy. And you, Yardsley. You're always a prodigious and welcome sight.
Oh, yes. Always a pleasure to see you, too.
Paradise burns. Thanks to Ludwine and the Steel Garrote laying siege to it.
She must have come back to life. Again. I suppose.
It's remarkable how hard you mortals fight. Still, I do think the world has been... Perhaps. A new god being... Mostly, I'm curious about whether you think you've made... Ah, that mortal zeal. Oh, I am interested in seeing the outcome of your story, Envoy. With luck. Unfortunately, you'll likely be dead the next time I return to the Living Lands. Goodbye, Envoy. And Yardsley, I do look forward...
Oh, yes. We'll...
What happens in Donshire shall ripple across.
I hope if we make it out of this, I'm going on vacation.
Leandro, is that you?
If this is how I repay my debt to her for killing a man in her lighthouse, so be it.
So, here we are. And I know you speak from metaphysically, but politically. I'd rather be an outlaw, anyway. Who knows what tomorrow will... Get some rest. Besides, don't stay up. Anything... Pleasant dreams.
So, there you... Understood. I guess it helps we have a god on our side, right? This is just cleanup. Someone once told me that... Anyway. It's not that I don't... Talk to you later, Envoy.
We should take a moment. You liberated the god of the... That's quite a... I admire your if not for you, Sapadal, which means you have leverage over a god. That's a lot of Sapadal. We cannot know if the Living Lands will know.
They vent you. Maybe you'll find some comfort in... I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. You're too kind. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable... Until now... What do you... Whenever you... All of that was... What are the odds? Once in a... I don't know if... Whatever you choose to... Let's appreciate it for... If I must.
Oh, you might know this, Marius.
I might.
How do you get dust stains out of... of your clothes?
Just wear clothes that won't be ruined by dust stains.
Wonderful advice for the future, dearie. However, I still have a dust...
One moment.
Everything your people have done, you have the gall to offer us terms of surrender?
It's not.
Envoy? Is it really you? Oh, Kostya told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god.
When you didn't come out,
Did you meet your god there? The one whose marks you bear?
It's too preposterous to believe. How could a plague be ended by speaking with a god?
Everyone, please, please. It's been weeks.
finally, a ray of... If there was a campaign to deliver a cure...
How could you? Hidden away in the tusks.
How safe is it looking now, Rawatai?
Warden Commander, look around you. Is this really...
Giata nearly had me convinced the Dream Scourge was some infection of S.
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
So you say. But Shatterscarp is still littered with dream thralls, and Temerty is still pacing her...
There won't be any new infections. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. This will be a process.
I suppose it stands to reason. What of this god, then? Ludwig had intimated that this
Preposterous or not, the godless yearned to build something new. And over hundreds of years, they did. A god. I suspect this god of theirs, Sapadal, was created from Echedan souls. Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
We were no stranger to them in Fior Mesiverno. They harrowed our fields.
Similar roots had infected the structures at Naku Kubel. If they and the Dream Scourge were really the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this...
Altruism is fertile ground.
First he still Garot, now a rogue god.
Having Sapadal at our beck and call might be to our advantage. I'd like to see Rawatai try to stand toe-to-toe against a god.
Nandru never spoke of Sapadal, and I believe it was for good reason. They should...
Well, whatever happens, But come, we have more pressing Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking.
Well, she's seen better days.
Ludwig's run
All right, let's keep this... A bit like you're being haunted, isn't it? So long as her passion for Wodika...
Then we destroy her faith? I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want.
Oh, good.
It is not, I think... Well, you might not believe me, but it was Ludwig who...
I didn't hear an answer.
She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city shortly after...
The steel garrote broke through several days ago. As far as we can tell, Central Paradise has been completely overrun. What citizens still live are not...
You couldn't have known this would happen. Don't...
Some Paradisans got out, but...
Thirdborn still suffers from the... Though you may have ended the plague, Envoy, many in Shatterscar, I could bring no more than a handful when we...
The Wardens largely survived the keep's destruction. But we are in... My men are salvaging what they can from it. They will march to Paradise as soon as they can.
Well, it's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the steel garrote.
There are too few of us.
So you let the Paradise militia go it alone?
Even if our meager
The siege won't end until Ludwig does.
And precise. The lawful settlement of a new Aedirn colony, or the establishment of... She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. I don't think peace is... Remember, she has and neither the Steel Garrote nor the Queen that was look kindly upon Oathbreakers.
Because a victory here would discourage me. The better question?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her
Sure. Just blame the dead woman.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwig?
You could start with Why are you treating him with kid
Enough. I've heard your concern.
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she... One people, one law. Ludwig agrees. Our success would model the order and...
Oh, are we all supposed to
When I think dignity, I think of the people who attack.
What passes between Ludwig and her men, or... But if I had to guess, this was... The Inquisitor answers only to Wodeka. I know it will. We are leading by example. We will do the same to the frontier.
Where was order and dignity?
My administration had nothing to do. Aedirn rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would...
Spoken like a
You have been the embodiment of Adir's promise, Envoy. Don't forget.
Isn't Paradise? It's poor.
I've answered your questions. Now, Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. What will his representatives find? Before you face Ludwig, you should know, but whatever you decide, understand. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands. They would divide the island into administrative districts. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources. The Empire, I should note. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence. Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. Only the strong survive the front. But you will... You're the obvious choice.
It's a mealy-mouthed compromise. But better than going on. And who knows?
A grave room wouldn't be my first choice. But we're going to need a hand with all the So if the Emperor's willing to...
If a grave room will put an end to the fighting, and I suppose this is...
tribute, he says. Taxes, soldiers. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their...
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We get the benefits of Imperial. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're...
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it.
Subtle, pernicious, cut the rod, safety among a web gleaming with dew.
Of course. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Aedirn Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Aedirn shilling. Their roads would be smooth Aedirn roads. Their medicine would... Our customs would become their customs, turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rawatai. This island would be...
The Empire's prosperity would be our... My wardens deserve...
The only threat I see on the horizon comes from Adir. They can't offer...
Under my leadership, the city might... I may have failed my people.
He would, if you have...
Rawatai, of course, but...
It shall be...
Living Lands, Adir.
The adders, the deed to drown us.
Of course. Well? A fine comp.
The Wardens of Sol.
The people of Fior will accept a...
Thirdborn will support a great...
I do not trust your empire to show restraint in...
We can worry about the future when it comes.
Right. Might as well go ahead and start designing.
Good. We'll have perhaps a whole week of peace before they...
I will do my level best to convince... That leaves the matter of Ludwig and the Steel... You must kill her.
Whatever happens to the Living Lands...
She better say her goodbye.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradise Militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
You're more than worth it.
Good luck.
Gather your force. Gods be with you.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens...
So we're going...
Let's go free us.
It's no use. We're overrun.
Don't just stand there. Ugh, I thought.
That'll teach you! Tell you!
Bravo!
They're behind you.
That's one for us. Don't worry about the eastern gate. I'll protect your back.
Envoy, what are you doing here? You shouldn't
Here they
be
come.
here. Show you found you.
You asked for it.
Look to your left.
Let me out.
Stop right there.
On the right.
To your left.
I thought you left town weeks ago. About time. You're the only one Ludwig will listen to. Not from us, that's for sure. You ask me? They've been planning. Listen, one of the Garot's units is scouting up ahead. Maybe 5. Take this key. It'll unlock the gate to the canals. You shouldn't find. I wish someone had stood up to the steel Garot. Well, you're.
We should go now, while the fighting's died down.
Can you not hear the screaming outside?
She's right. We can't go now. Envoy.
What a mess.
I hope you know what you're doing. One moment.
Come on. You know this. You practiced with Uncle Capo 100 times. Tight? Not too tight. You don't want to cut off the blood flow.
Envoy, it's good to see you fighting on the right. Out of curiosity, what turned you against the Steel Garrote? It takes courage to stand against them. You know the Steel Garrote a lot better than we do. They're I'll send it down the line. Ready to make hit.
Good. Now, let's kick these bastards out, shall we?
What exactly do you think you're doing? You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you. Fighting the Steel Garrote. What have you got to say for yourself? Well, at least you're alive. Try and keep it that way. We're patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody... You're damn lucky to be one of those few. At least for now. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but Gods be with you, Envoy.
Wonderful advice. Let's try to follow it, shall we?
Everybody all right?
Envoy! Welcome.
What's up?
Oh, you see that?
Yardsley, well done.
Wodeker demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig one final visit, shall we?
This is it, Envoy. The only part that matters.
She could use some payback for Naku Kubel, don't you think? Let's make sure... He's dead this time. All right, dearie.
There you are.
So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? Our conflict was foretold the moment you were born. You can no more avoid it than I can die.
Oh gods, I came here for a fight.
Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through. He failed.
Her order wields sharp.
Heelguard is a fool if he thinks half measures will save the island.
I won't weep for Heelguard.
As for you, Sapadal's chains are broken, which means your soul is in their grasp. I don't know how deeply you've been compromised, Envoy. And if I don't know... Do not patronize me. I have every right to put down a threat to thee. Steel yourself, Envoy.
We would not welcome her death. There is still ample shade for her beneath our tree.
I knew you on the field of battle, when your honor was beyond question. But I don't know what you are now. Consider death my parting gift in recognition of our time. I give you freely. Prove it.
Famous last words.
You won't be missed, Ludwig.
Once I'm done killing you, your god of plague is unreal!
We are everything. In the soil, we will always grow.
Take her down!
Come on!
Whoa! Queen among queens! Send me your aid!
Skeleton Corva, big for help from top.
Awesome shooting!
Against wounded. Help me! One last time! Go on and...
Look right!
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done. But we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradise, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradise militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The dream scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. With your guidance, the Living Lands becomes a vassal of the Aedirran Empire. In exchange for their taxes and soldiers, the free settlements are protected from future attacks. The fight for survival is over. The rebels of Paradis are not so fortunate. Over the years, more of their hidden sanctuaries are rooted out by the Emperor's soldiers. Until they have nowhere left to run, they flee or perish. The refugees of Emerald Stair find a cold welcome in the city of Paradis. Animancy is frowned upon, but their knowledge of agriculture is highly valued. The first bountiful harvest improves relations. In time, the people of Emerald Stair return to their city of Fior Messiverno. Animancy still has a place in the Living Lands, but the Empire's disapproval gets in the way of progress. Their work is slow, but unstoppable. After so much chaos, the people of Shatterscarp find a moment to breathe. As a gesture of goodwill to its grave room, Adir sends a regiment to purge the remaining dream thralls still haunting the wilderness. But with the sound of Aedirran cannons in the air, many Thirdborners wonder what their lives will look like when there is no longer a common enemy. There is rubble where Solace once stood, and the Pargrunen must now confront the consequences of their isolationism. Though the rest of the Living Lands do not ostracize the dwarves, Kostia discovers that they have few friends among the kith they once shunned. And during the negotiations with Adir, the Empire asks far more of the Grave Room than Kostia expects. The Empire knows when it has a people cornered. For the first time in many years, Kai feels an agreeable restlessness. Not to flee, not to drift, but to venture. He visits the distant shores Tama told him about, and savors the modern marvels, ancient wonders, and breathtaking expanses he beholds. His heart swells, not with grief, but with awe. There is so much to discover, and he will spend his years chasing all of the joy and beauty the world has to offer him. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. With Solace gone, however, Marius never has a chance to reconcile with his people. Outside of a few travelers here and there, his connection with the Wardens is completely lost. Giada continues to improve as an animancer. She dedicates her work to the spiritual health of the Living Lands, nurturing instead of exploiting. Others follow her example, seeking her tutelage from lands far and wide. In the years to come, rumors spread of a secret society gathering in the wilderness, where animancers work in harmony with nature. The dream of Fior Messiverno lives on in her. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yatsley returns to the animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilici, she helps him and the animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Messiverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yardsley is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Sopadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin tentatively to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Sopadal pours a fragment of their power into the statue they claimed from the temple of Aethys. Newly embodied, they roam the living lands and learn to experience the world as kith do. Their first attempts at locomotion are clumsy, and a stand of innocent trees is violently returned to the wheel. But as their confidence grows, so does their grace. Soon, they are bounding across the plains of eastern Dawnshore, leaping the river gorge in Emerald Stair, scaling the shark's teeth of Shatterscarp, and fearlessly wading into the Tusk's acid sea. When they break, they come to you to put them back together, and in time, they learn to fix themselves. They wander far afield. You see less of them, but they are never far from your thoughts, and on the rare occasion they return, they always bring you something beautiful and strange. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.